Week 9, this is chapter 14 on disabilities, actually. Um, Slide 20. The social model of disability success suggests that disabilities are social and the result of society. For example, a person in a wheelchair um, can enter a building if there is a wheelchair ramp, but if there is not, they cannot. And so that is um, the result of society. Slide 19. An activity is a task. Um, an activity limitation. Um, oops, going to slide 18. Is a limitation. So an activity limitation is a limit to a task related to daily living. Slide 18 still. An impairment. An issue related to the structure or function of the body, according to this definition by the World Health Organization. Participation restrictions are limitations on tasks related to social situations or limitations to engaging in tasks related to social situations. Slide 17. Non-apparent disabilities or invisible disabilities. For example, neurodiversity. A person may or may not disclose this. However, to receive an accommodation and to receive legal protections in certain situations, they may have to, although they may have anxiety and stress about trying to convince others that they have a disability. I guess documentation may help there, perhaps, from an authority. Anyway, okay, 16. Eugenic sterilizations. This was part of the social Darwinism and Nazism during World War II, between World War I and World War II, actually, in the United States and Europe. The targets were poor people, people of color, women, obviously, the disabled, queer persons, and the aged. Um, does it continue until today? There have been rumors of women receiving hysterectomies in ICE and CBP detention. They were supposedly told by doctors that they had uterine cancer. However, when they were examined by doctors, when they were released from detention, that did not seem to be the case. There was an article in the New York Times about this a few years ago. Slide 15, actually skip 15, 14, 13. Shell shock, otherwise known as PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Veterans Affairs provides services for mental and physical health of veterans, and that also intersects other service areas. All the service areas and service sites intersect each other in terms of services provided to clients. 11. So basically, the Supreme Court, which is conservative, has decided that even though Congress passed the ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act, individuals may not sue for monetary damages inflicted by institutions that do not that discriminate against disabled persons. They can sue for injunctive relief, meaning asking the institution to change its discriminatory behavior. They also cannot sue for punitive damages. Punitive damages go above and beyond monetary damages. They are meant to provide a disincentive for legal behavior. So it is supposed to send a message to other institutions not to engage in illegal behavior, but apparently they cannot do that either. I'm not sure if the Department of Justice and the U.S. government could sue. Um, they probably could. But of course, the Attorney General would only do that if it's um, an administration friendly to the disabled community, which the current administration is not. As I'm speaking here in 2025. Slide 10, persons with intellectual and developmental disabilities. This is about vocational rehab programs which provide workforce training. Self-directed service um, allows a person with an intellectual or developmental disability to choose their own services and services providers. So it's important that those services be available and that people are able to make use of them if they are able to make use of them. It may, I mean, it's nice to have the flexibility. Maybe it's not for everyone, um, but yeah. Slide 9, Universal Design UD modifications can be useful to all people, even if they are initially for an accommodation. So maybe I make my slides available to everyone. If I get an accommodation requesting slides, the slides are already available and everybody likes it. Um, things like that. Um, the quizzes are not timed in this course, so if I get an accommodation letter, I need more time to take my quiz. Well, they're not timed anyway already for everybody, and that helps everybody out. So the principles of universal design are based more on the social model of disability and based on the idea that um, universal design is the most effective, efficient design for anything, for anybody. I'm talking about education, and I'm talking about my Canvas learning management system, but it could be engineering, it could be, like we mentioned before, a wheelchair ramp, a sidewalk, university campus infrastructure. Slide 8. The United Nations adopted the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. It has been ratified by 177 countries. It has not been ratified by the United States. What did I write here? It relates to legal, social, and political rights for persons with disabilities. It also relates to research and teaching related to disabilities and services for persons with disabilities. Slide 7, the relativist definition of disability. This has to do with cultural norms and statistical averages. Um, so what is it? What is expected of what is normal for people in society? If you were to ask an average person on the street, statistical averages, what can the average person in a society do? It is relative, not absolute. Anyway, medical definitions of disability based on biology and based on the individual. So again, the example of a person in a wheelchair. Um, it would look at the individual. So the medical approach would be to view its disability as um, a disease or an illness, to be cured or treated. So medical research, I guess biotech and biomedical research on spinal cord injuries, for example, if paralysis is the reason the person cannot walk or is in a wheelchair, which, is important, but then they miss the point about diversity and tolerance for diversity and embracing diversity, and also that um, what am I trying to say here? I mean, people are fine the way they are. It's not necessary for them to change. Not walking is as normal as walking from a social model definition of disability.